should enter California like this and go all the way across the United States and then up the East Coast and Appalachians. Whether one or both of these subtropical storm track routes play out this winter, they will be combined with a polar jet stream, which will add cold air to these storms and make heavy snowstorms way more likely for the mid-Atlantic and Northeast, rather than just a sloppy wintry mix or rainstorm. For the West Coast, there will be no major storm tracks unless the Category Number 2 subtropical storm track plays out for this winter. But they should be getting lots of sea storms, which will give that area plenty of rain at sea level and snow in the mountains. Another one of the more common storm tracks is going to be the Alberta Clipper storm track, a short-lived heavy snowstorm which drops a general 3 to 6 inches on the area it passes by. I'm expecting the storm track will be more common than normal because of the negative NAO. This storm track comes from, obviously, the province Alberta, Canada, and it goes south through Minnesota, and then through the Great Lakes region, through the Ohio River Valley, and then up the East Coast and Appalachians. The Appalachians usually get a greater hit of the storm track than the East Coast does. The third and last very active storm track I'm expecting is coming this winter is going to be the Panhandle Hook, a storm track which forms off the coast of California, goes south, then turns north again, entering New Mexico, going north through the plains and entering Canada after finishing with the United States at Minnesota. The last storm track I'm going to discuss is the Gulf of Mexico storm track, which I'm expecting is going to be as active as normal. It forms on the Gulf of Mexico, then cuts through the Panhandle of Florida, and then goes up the East Coast and Appalachians. This storm track, I think, will bring more precipitation to the near coastal areas than the Appalachians. Alright, now to the snowfall map. As you can see, the only place which is going to be drier than normal is the Northwest, because you're not going to be seeing much of the Pacific Northwestern storm track, which is basically their only major storm track. However, I'm not expecting this area to be extremely dry. I'm expecting some sea storms to blow into this region and give them rain and snow. The areas I'm expecting to have average precipitation include Northern California, the Central Rockies, a portion of the Central Northern Plains, and a portion of the Central Northern Plains. I'm expecting that there will be lots of storms from the sea following minor storm tracks, but there will be no major storm tracks in this area. However, I think that there will be enough storms coming through this area so that it's not considered a drier than average winter. I'm expecting the majority of the country, including the Southern Plains, a portion of the Central and Northern Plains, the Great Lakes region, the Ohio River Valley, and a portion of the Southern Appalachians, and all of the Central and Northern Appalachians, and the coastal region from North Carolina to Maine to be quite snowy, but not crazy snowy. However, it's a little different with the Great Lakes region. In other words, there's a different reason why it's going to have above average snowfall. I'm expecting the Great Lakes region to have a front-end winter, which means that it will be extremely snowy, late fall to midwinter, and then by midwinter the snowiness will calm down to near average. The reason for that is because there will be lake effect snow, as well as a huge abundance of snow from the Alberta Clippers because of the negative NAO. But because this winter is probably going to be extremely cold in that area, I wouldn't be surprised if the lakes freeze over. That means that we will have below normal lake effect snow. But the abundance of the Alberta Clippers will continue throughout the winter, so the second half of the winter should total to about average snowfall. For those of you who live near the lakes, by the second half of the winter, you should be seeing more sunny skies because the lakes won't constantly be creating cloud cover, and it won't be snowing lightly 24/7. When the Alberta Clippers come, you should have a swath of heavy snow, 3 to 6 inch accumulation, and then the sky should clear up. I'm expecting a relatively small portion of the central and northern Appalachians to receive way above average snowfall. I'm now expecting that the I-95 corridor will be in this region. The reason I'm expecting only the small region to have way above average snowfall is because 4 storm tracks are coming this way, and 2 of them hit the Appalachians harder than they do closer to the coast. The other 2 storm tracks affect the Appalachians and coastal regions about equally. Now, admittedly, I do think that I did draw the storm tracks a bit more east than they should have been, so it looks like the coastal regions will receive the hardest hit this winter with snow, which I'm not expecting is going to happen this winter. However, I'm still expecting the I-95 corridor to receive some decent snowfalls, and maybe even a blizzard, although the snow should stay for longer periods of time this winter because of the frigid temperatures. So it may seem like an extremely snowy winter when really it's not. You guys will be receiving above normal snowfall, just not way above average snowfall. As you head south, there's a really thin region of above average precipitation, but not necessarily snow. Snow will likely mix in at times, and I think that accumulating snow is likely as well. Just don't expect it to be a snow-dominant winter, because it won't. This region is going to be too warm overall for that. Rain will dominate, but during occasional cold spells, snow should dominate. Don't get cocky and expect that winter won't come. It will. South of that region, there's a stretch of above average rain, but snow and ice will be unlikely this winter. You guys are just too far south of where the jet stream is going to be, and you're going to have above average temperatures overall. The people in the northern parts of this region, especially in the southern Appalachians, might see a few flurries, but that'll be it for snow. I'm sorry, but it's not looking right now like this winter. Like this is the winter you will see accumulating snow, or even an ice storm. Now I'm going to show you my final map, which is the precipitation type outlook. Now, even though I sort of explained what kind of precipitation you're going to get, I'd like to show it to you in more detail in order to avoid confusion and getting your hopes too high. First of all, notice that I drew the snow and the snow mix lines and the mixed rain lines farther north than the last map made it look like. That's because more snow than normal doesn't mean that snow will dominate. It just means that there will be above average snow, but maybe above average rain as well. So in the map, when I said that there would be above average rain with snow likely mixing in a pink shaded region part of the map, that does not mean that it could be classified as enough wintry precipitation to qualify it into the mix zone. It simply means that most storms will be rain, with snow likely mixing in or maybe even turning to snow. But for the majority of that region, rain will dominate. However, I would say that the northern part of that region could qualify to be in the mix zone. Also, the southern part of that region, where I said above average snowfall, should be in the mix zone as well. Finally, I drew the region rain will dominate farther north, and I drew above average rain. Snow and ice are unlikely from the last map, because in the snowfall outlook map, I was basically saying that rain would not only dominate, but likely would be the only precipitation you will get all winter.